The nurses think I'm asleep. They whisper outside my door, their voices soft like rustling leaves. They don't know I'm waiting for the clock to stop. My time is almost up, and there's something I need to say. Not for them, not for God, for me. A final truth before the silence. It was a night just like this one, years ago. Cold, the kind of cold that gets into your bones. Sarah was with me. My Sarah. Her laugh was the only thing that could warm a night like that. We were young, stupid, and thought we owned the world. We'd just left a party, walking home the long way through the old industrial park. We always took the long way. More time together. The place was deserted. Just skeletons of factories against a starless sky. We were talking about our future. Heavy, we stopped, listening. Sarah pulled me closer. "What was that?" she whispered. I told her it was probably just a loose piece of metal banging in the wind. I was lying. The air was perfectly still. We started walking again, faster this time. But the sound followed, keeping pace with us. Thud, thud, thud. It felt like it was getting closer. Not from behind, but from all around us, like the very ground was breathing. I tried to stay calm, for her sake. I told a stupid joke. She didn't laugh. Her eyes were wide, darting into the shadows. We saw him then. A figure standing at the far end of the alley we were about to enter. Just a silhouette, tall and still. He wasn't the source of the sound, but his presence was a cold blanket of dread. But the thudding sound was behind us now, closer than before. We were trapped between them. The man in the alley didn't move. He just watched. I grabbed Sarah's hand and pulled her into a run, veering away from the alley, towards a chain-link fence. I thought we could climb it. My heart was a drum against my ribs, trying to beat in time with that awful, heavy sound. We scrambled for the fence. My hands were clumsy, numb with cold and fear. Sarah was right behind me. I could hear her panicked breathing. The thudding stopped. The silence that followed was worse. I turned to help her up, and that's when I saw the man from the alley. He was right there. He hadn't run. He was just there, standing beside her. He didn't touch her. He didn't speak. He just looked at me. His face was ordinary, forgettable, but his eyes, they were empty. Not cruel, not angry, just empty. He looked at me, then at Sarah, and then he smiled. A small, simple smile. It was the most terrifying thing I have ever seen. He just held my gaze. Sarah screamed. Not a loud scream, but a choked, terrified gasp. She wasn't looking at him. She was looking past him, at something behind him. I followed her gaze. In the deep shadow of a doorway, I saw movement. 2 figures. No, not figures, just shapes. They were dark, indistinct, and they were dragging something heavy between them. The shapes moved without a sound. They were pulling a large, canvas sack. It was that sack hitting the ground that had been making the thudding noise. Thud, drag. Thud, drag. The man with the empty eyes just kept smiling at me, a silent observer to this nightmare. He was holding us there with his gaze, a gatekeeper. I finally snapped out of it. I screamed at Sarah to run. I pushed her away from the fence, back the way we came. I turned to face the man, ready to fight, to do something, anything. But he was gone. He had vanished. The shapes in the doorway were gone too. The alley was empty. The thudding had stopped. It was just us again. We ran. We didn't stop running until the streetlights of our neighborhood welcomed us back to the world of the living. We never spoke of it. We tried to pretend it was a shared hallucination, a trick of the cold and the dark. But we both knew what we had seen. The fear was a poison that seeped into everything. Our relationship crumbled after that. The shared terror didn't bring us closer. It built a wall between us. Every time I looked at her, I saw the fear in her eyes, and she saw the same helplessness in mine. The promise I made to her that night, to never leave her, became a curse. I had failed to protect her from the darkness. She left a few months later. No note, no goodbye. She just disappeared. Her family, the police, they all thought she ran away. They looked for a while, then gave up. But I knew she hadn't run away. I knew the man with the empty eyes, the silent shapes, had something to do with it. They had marked us. I spent years looking for him. I revisited that industrial park 1,000 times, searching for a clue, a sign. I became obsessed. My life became a ghost story of its own. I saw his face in every crowd, heard that thudding sound in my sleep. I was haunted not by a ghost, but by a memory, by my own failure. The doctors here say the cancer is eating me from the inside. They're wrong. It's the guilt. The guilt is what's killing me. The confession I need to make isn't about what I saw. It's about what I did. The truth of that night isn't just about the man and the shapes in the dark. It's much simpler and much worse. You see, when we got to the fence, and I turned, there was no man with empty eyes. There were no shapes in the dark. There was no thudding sound. There was only me and Sarah, and another man, an ordinary man who had followed us from the party, who thought two young people in a dark place were easy prey. He grabbed her, she screamed. I didn't fight, I didn't do anything. I was frozen. I watched him hurt her, and I did nothing. The thudding sound, that was my heart. The man with the empty eyes I keep seeing, that was me. The face I saw in my mind, the one I created to absolve myself. The one who just watched. When he was done, he ran. I was left there with her, broken on the cold ground. She looked at me. There was no love in her eyes anymore. Just a question. Why? I couldn't answer. I helped her up, and we walked home in silence. She left a few months later, and I let her go, because every time she looked at me, she saw a coward. And she was right. The horror of that night wasn't some monster in the shadows. The monster was me. My inaction, my fear. That's my confession. I didn't fail to protect her from some dark entity. I failed to protect her from a man. And in doing so, I became the monster in her story. And in my own, the clock has stopped. It's quiet now. Finally, quiet.